one more yet. There is one more yet. The youngest always has to be last. Come on in. We're glad you're here. We got one seat up front, and we got one in the middle and two in the back. Except by Jed, but he does bite, so be careful.
Thank
You're welcome. Just slightly. Very good. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm so glad that you're here. I was looking out the crowd. Some of you guys I've known for a long time. Some of you I just met tonight. In fact, Sheila, I was just thinking, you used to always come to workshops when I did them years and years ago. Yeah, it's been a long time, and you know, lots changed in the last 3 years, and with COVID, nobody would do anything, you know, and now it's good to see faces again and to be able to share and try to be able to, you know, change people's lives, transform your lives, get you to enjoying things that you forgot that you enjoyed. So what we have right here is a workshop, and I've got it titled Life Without Chronic Pain, because I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot of people with chronic pain. We're going to define chronic pain. At any given time in the United States, 51 million people are suffering from chronic pain. We're going to go through, we're going to define chronic pain, we're going to talk about it, what it is, but I'm going to try to operate my keyboard properly here. I'm going to have you, believe it or not, oh no, I got to ask you a question first. Then I'll This is very, very, very important here. So, once you guys think about this, you don't have to verbalize it if you don't want to. And this is going to vary for each one in here in different conditions and what have you. But what I want you to think about here is try to go back in time and visualize. When is the last time I really, really, really felt good? I woke up in the morning after getting an awesome night's sleep. I'm not hurting. I can get out of bed and stand up without pain. I can function at any level I need to throughout the entire day, come home not exhausted in pain, and be able to go to bed and actually fall asleep and be able to start over like that the next day. So think about when the last time that was, okay? Next thing I would like you to do is actually take out your phones and put your cameras on. If you would like copies of the slides, now I will tell you, I made some last minute edits even today that aren't on there, but it's going to be close. So if you've never used a QR code, the way you do this is you take your camera out, but you don't take a picture. You're going to point your camera at that QR code, and you will likely see a little yellow box pop up. If you click on that, you'll get access to my slides. Everybody got it?
That's great.
I was thinking about, I got to remember to print off the slides, and then it hit me. Oh, wait, no, we can do this. This is not the year 2000 anymore.
Keep it right there, and then down here, hit that button down right there.
I'll get that.
I probably
And
moved
that
it.
takes you to the website where they're at.
But it's
Answer to original question, before I had children.
Well, I know your children, so that's been a couple days.
But when you said something about
Oh, you're blaming it on the kids.
having, yes, I am.
Oh.
Going to sleep and sleeping
Yeah.
through the night and all that, and I was like, oh, that was a.
Okay.
I was thinking when I was 5.
Fair enough, and I'm sure that's different between moms and dads.
Yeah, probably.
Because that's not what I was thinking of. Okay, very good. Everybody good to go on the QR codes? You know what? I want to get rid of that, and so we're going to do this. Very good. All right. Moving on here. So I have goals for you today. I'm sure that whenever I talked to you, invited you to this, you had thoughts about what we would be talking about. You have thoughts about what you would like to learn, and maybe even nervous about some things, maybe some reservations. So I'm just going to start out right off the bat and tell you what my goals are for each one of you. Some of you will take 1 or 2 or 3 things. Some of you will take everything and ask for more. Everybody's in a different place in what they can and will do. So I will share with you that my first goal is for you to understand what chronic pain is. Unfortunately, most people don't really understand what it is or why it's there. They have all, you know, it's kind of a big medical word and they think they know what it is, but a lot of times they really don't. And I know that because I read new patient intake. So number 2, it's very important that you learn the misconceptions about chronic pain. Some of it could be by definition, some of it could be, you know, what makes it chronic, what isn't, and so forth. There are common treatments for chronic pain, and we're going to get into these in detail here in a little bit. And I want to teach you about some of the most common treatments and some of the misconceptions with them, because there are things about them that you've just never been told. So I'm going to share that with you today. I want you to be able to walk away from here tonight, even if it's one thing, being able to say, you know what, this is the one thing I can change to improve my chronic pain, even if it's just one thing. Because you know what, once one thing is mastered, we can do two things. Do you follow me? Now, there will be some of you in here that are like, yep, my life just changed today, boom, and it's, I mean, I've seen it happen. It's crazy. Most people aren't that way, but if you can make one step forward in the right direction and continue doing that, then all of a sudden, a year from now, you've made a huge change. Does that make sense? So instead of being overwhelmed by, oh my God, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, one thing. And it's something you can actually start today too. Now, I'm actually going to introduce you, and there's a couple people in here that already know about this, a couple people that have already had it. But I'm going to introduce you to something that is, it's so exciting to me that there are literally nights that I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm awake, not because I can't sleep, I'm awake because I'm so excited about what is going on and what I'm seeing. And I'm also still, even though I've seen this dozens of times now, still kind of a little bit of a state of shock and disbelief because it just seems too good to be true. And you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I go through this with you. But we're going to be talking about a new treatment that I'll explain to you in detail that can literally decrease, you know, the effects of chronic pain by, like inflammation, by 90% in just 45 seconds. It's a really, really big deal. And then some of you might actually qualify for that treatment. Some of you won't. It's okay. But for those of you that do qualify and you think, hey, that's something I want to try, then I want to have an offer for you that says, okay, it's worth it for me to do this to see if this can get me out of pain. And when we go through this, it'll blow you away. Now, this sounds really weird, but in the last 2 weeks, or what's it been, 3 weeks now? I've heard this so many times, it's not even funny. I literally want to be able to take you, if at all possible, to where you feel 10 to 20 years younger. I mean, that's a big deal, right? That's almost pre-kids.
That is almost pretty
Almost.
Yep.
Yeah.
Game for that.
Yep. Sound like fair goals? Everybody on board so far? Okay, good. Oh, by the way, you guys like prizes? Do you? Okay. I've got some prizes up here. Now, some of them go along with my talk, and some of them were from when I was cleaning house in here about 3 weeks ago. And I found
And Melissa says you gotta get rid of that.
this box.
Last year's Easter candy, right?
Oh. Last decade. So you'll get it, and those of you that know me and my family pretty well, you will really get it. But at least you'll have something to laugh about, and it's to be fun. But anyway, that goes to people who participate. So ask questions. You know, get things, get something out there, even if it's wrong. I'm not going to jump down your throat because if you're thinking it and it's wrong, guess what? Somebody else in here is thinking the same thing, right? So without looking at the slide that I accidentally went to first. When you hear the word chronic, what does that mean to you?
Long time.
Long time. Okay, you're actually exactly right. But believe it or not, people will equate the word chronic with severity. They think, you know, ask them, was this a chronic problem? Oh, no, it's like a 3 out of 4. Oh, really? How long have you had it? Oh, 20 years. That is a chronic problem. Would you agree? Absolutely. So when we're talking about chronic pain, and by the way, this is one reason why I gave you your slides, because I'm not going to read all this stuff to you. What we're talking about with chronic pain is something that's persistent, right? Now, I can have somebody that comes in here and they tell me they did X, Y, Z to their back, their knee, whatever. And I can ask them how long, you know, they've been dealing with this. And they'll say, oh, last Friday. And so I'll say, so you've never had pain like this before, right? Oh, no, I have pain like this all the time. Oh, okay, so when is the very first time you remember having this back pain. And they'll say, oh yeah, I was in college and it's 20 years ago. You follow me? That is a chronic problem. With chronic problems comes chronic changes. We're talking about biomechanical changes. We're talking about bone spurs, degenerative disc disease, muscle imbalance, all kinds of different things that go along with that chronic. Because remember, chronic is a period of time. Anybody want to know what the medical definition is? Anything more than 3 months. Yeah. Anything more than 3 months is chronic. Chronic. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. 3 months, 20 years, who is in the worst shape? Prizes.
20 years.
20, yes, thank you.
Because they've got all the other stuff. They've got all the other stuff that goes along with the chronic.
That's exactly right.
They got bad knees.
Yep.
Because of their bad back.
Absolutely. You know, you guys know me as you one-on-one. And of course, I know you guys as this whole collective bunch of people that I've known for all kinds of different things, right? So I see, and you can talk to other doctors too, we see patterns. You know, that's how, like, if you go in and you got the sniffles and it's these kind of symptoms, they say, yep, this is what's going around now. Is it because they read a textbook on the newest virus that's out? No, it's based off of patterns of what they've seen with patients, and they've learned through experience and whatever's going around at this time, what works and what doesn't, right? So it's the same thing with chiropractic.
So is there a shot for chronic pain?
You can do a morphine drip, but it's not going to be very active. But, you know, so in fact, I testified on this just well over a year ago on a car wreck deal where this guy, insurance is not your friend if you're a plaintiff, if you don't know that already, meaning you're suing them, right? And so this guy, I mean, open shut case as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there's a dash cam of somebody that was not involved in the wreck that you could see every single thing. And, you know, one of the things that I testified on was that when people come to me, and this happens all the time, especially with the neck, and I'll say, oh yeah, so you were in a car wreck, rear-end car wreck about 15 years ago. Oh, no, never was like that. Your spine says you had a whiplash injury about 15 years ago, because I could tell by the degeneration, because it is a chronic problem. Good, yeah, very good. And I've had people get mad at me. Typically women. I don't know why, but it's typically the women that get mad.
Because we don't believe men.
Fair enough. But no, they will though, and this is what's funny about it, is they'll literally leave. They won't tell me they're mad at me. But when they come back the next time, they'll say something like, you know what, I was really mad at you because you kept, or last time I was here, and I'm like, oh really, what'd I do? Because I don't even remember by then, right? And they said, well, you kept telling me that I had a car wreck, and I didn't. I had never had a car wreck. And so I was talking to my mom last night, and I started complaining about this. And my mom says, oh yeah, don't you remember? Boom. And mom lays it out. So I know to tell people now. If you don't believe me, go ask mom. Yeah. Okay. So here are some common examples of chronic pain. Now the list goes on and on and on. These are just very common ones that I see, you know, and have seen for over the last 21 years. So as you might imagine, low back pain lasting longer than
3 months.
3 months. You guys are great. I'm gonna make prizes. Shoulder pain, rotator cuff pain, as long as it's not past the point to surgery. Now, get this, most surgeries aren't necessary, but there are times when they are, all right? So I'm not anti-surgery, I'm just do it when it needs to be done. If we can do without it, let's do without it. There's also frozen shoulder. Do you guys know what frozen shoulder is?
Mhm.
Okay. Can somebody give me an example? Can you demonstrate to
Well,
me
you
what
just
frozen
can't
shoulder
raise
is?
your arm at all.
You can't raise your arm, absolutely.
So it's not the cold shoulder.
No, that's what you get from your wife when you don't.
I'm glad you're here. I'm going to show you some examples of frozen shoulder.
Too long.
Yes. Hip pain. And by the way, let's clear this up here real quick because there's a big misconception. When you come to me and you say you have hip pain, I'm thinking hip pain. 9 out of 10 people, when they come to me and they say they have hip pain, don't have hip pain. They have what's called sacroiliitis or sacroiliac pain. So this, everybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The bump you can, not hip. Sacroiliac joint.
Right.
This up here is hip. Okay, so we cleared that up. So hip pain, neck pain, elbow pain, tennis elbow, chronic golfer's elbow, Wrist pain, including carpal tunnel, which is numbness and tingling out into the fingers. Knee pain, as long as it's not too bad, we've got a really good source or a really good protocol on this. Foot and ankle pain, including plantar fasciitis. Show of hands, anybody ever have plantar fasciitis? How much fun is that?
Oh, it's a riot.
Yeah, you can't get away from it, right?
No, you
What
can't run
treatments-
from it.
What treatments work to fix it? Yeah, you can't run from it. That's a good one.
Two.
That's very good.
That's the comedy she deserves.
Yes. So, in all seriousness, what are common treatments you've heard of for plantar fasciitis?
I had surgery.
Surgery?
Rubbing your feet over a bottle.
Yep, frozen bottle, right? Stretching. What else? Let's get a little more. Those don't work. What's next?
Acupuncture.
Acupuncture.
Oh,
What else?
There you go.
Pre-surgery, I guess. Steroid shots?
Yes.
Hear those?
Yeah.
Oral steroids? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, and even chiropractic, I've adjusted people's feet, trying to help them with plantar fasciitis. Now, how many of those work very well?
Surgery
None.
worked.
But sometimes you got to be careful.
Well, that's true.
Because I tell you what, out of all the patients I've seen in over 21 years who have had surgery on their feet, now some of them did get good results, but the vast majority, it was surgery after surgery after surgery, and they were more miserable each time. I got people nodding their head everywhere, so I'm not the only one that's saying this, right? Okay, bursitis. Anybody know what bursitis is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Can anybody tell me what a bursa is?
It's a
This
sack.
one in your elbow. It's a sac. What's it filled with?
Fluid.
It's fluid. What's its purpose?
Cushion there.
Yes, specifically, the tendons rubbing over the joint, so that you don't have all that inflammation all the time. Right. Another common one is behind the knee. Another common one is out here on the hip. Okay, shoulder. So bursitis, anything that ends in itis, by the way, tonsillitis, appendicitis, arthritis. Anybody know what itis means? Inflammation. Yeah, exactly right. Okay. And then the last one is neuropathy, particularly like diabetic neuropathies. Anybody ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Losing the feeling in your fingers or toes. A lot of times the toes. Okay, that's a whole lot bigger chronic issue than all of these combined. You can treat it. You can help them get a better quality of life, but it's not something that goes away like the other stuff can. All good on that? Anybody have one or two more to add to chronic pain?
What is it? A frozen neck. I had that once.
My
Um,
daughter
really
had that
painful.
once.
I've never heard that by definition. I mean, I know what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah.
you can wake up in the morning and have a crick in your neck. And it's,
Not correct. I mean, you can't even turn
Yeah.
your head right or left. It
Most,
hurts everywhere.
yeah, most likely that would be associated with what's called the facet joint, and they'll get stuck. And they're very painful. 90% of all neck pain comes from the facets. And there's one on each side between each vertebrae. So, you already have the answer to my question here. What is the most common cause of the vast majority of chronic pain?
Inflammation.
Inflammation, absolutely right, okay? Inflammation. So, let's talk about what is inflammation. What do you think inflammation is? Is it healthy or unhealthy? Let me ask you that.
Unhealthy.
Did anybody say healthy?
It can be healthy.
It's,
Bingo, yes.
yeah, it can be healthy.
Absolutely.
It's to protect.
Yep, and to
There's a
rebuild.
reason it's doing it.
Yep,
Should not last forever.
bingo. Okay, so somebody goes and breaks their arm, goes and sprains their ankle, they go get in a car wreck or something like that. Should the body send inflammatory components, extra blood flow, all this, should it send it to that area?
Yes.
The
Yeah.
damaged area, yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Should that area swell
Yes.
and hurt? And so-
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's part of it, right? So a sprained ankle, how long should that hurt and be swollen?
6 weeks.
I'd say
Hopefully
2 or
just
3
a few
weeks.
days to a week, two max, but there's a reason. What you're saying is true, but I'll explain why here in a second. Broken arm. Now, how long to heal? How long is it supposed to be swollen and hurt? Couple weeks, right. Now, 6 weeks-ish to heal, so you can't go out and start living crazy again and riding a motorcycle and what have you after it quits hurting. What was the other one we talked about? Oh, car wrecks, man. When you talk about whiplash, you can be 12 plus months, just so you know. Yeah. Okay, so, but inflammation does have a purpose. So we're going to talk just a little bit about that. We're going to talk about common causes of chronic inflammation. So chronic, once again, is long term, right? More than 3 months, right? Okay. So if we break our arm, we sprain our ankle, we do any of these type of injuries, should we expect to have normal, healthy inflammation past 3 months max? No way,
I
right?
didn't think so.
So if a person has chronic inflammation, inflammation lasting past 3 weeks, is that normal or abnormal?
Abnormal.
Abnormal, that's right. So there's got to be a reason why that is abnormal. And I'm going to tell you right now, there are a lot of reasons, a ton of different reasons. Some you can control, some you cannot. Some vary geographically, and you'll see why as we go through this, okay? Now, this is one of those ones that you can help and treat, but you can't really control, and that's an autoimmune disorder. So we're talking about things like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, we're talking about psoriasis, psoriatic arthritis, things like that. This is a genetic issue. There's just more inflammation than there should be. It's way more complicated than that, but you kind of get the idea. What we're talking about tonight can help a person with these live a better life. It can't fix them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, now, this is one none of us like to hear about because we all want to eat what we want to eat and do what we want to do, right? But facts are facts. So, when we talk about obesity as a cause, it's really interesting that if you were to study the actual fat cells within the body, they actually hold on to a lot more than fat. I mean, they'll hold on to mercury, they'll hold on to PCB, they'll hold on to lead, they'll hold on to all kinds of different tissues. That's one of the reasons, if you've ever known somebody to lose 30, 40, 50 pounds in a short period of time, sometimes they'll get sick. I have flu-like symptoms for a day or two. Cold sweats, the body detoxes, they have rashes, all kinds of different things. But, excuse me. The fat itself produces what's called inflammatory cytokines. Has anybody ever heard of that term, cytokine?
We heard it a lot during the pandemic.
Thank you. You are exactly right. Now, I studied cytokines, leukotrienes, all the other inflammatory and anti-inflammatory, because there's both for each one. There's anti-inflammatory and inflammatory cytokines, right? But what we heard about in COVID was the cytokine storm. Did everybody hear about that? And is an increase of inflammation, which I'm going to come back to that here in just a minute. Few minutes actually. So anyway, the fat tissue produces the inflammatory cytokines, so therefore the more fat tissue we have, the fuller the fat cells we are, the more inflammation we have. And it's also the belly area, and it also leads to type 2 diabetes, which you probably already knew. Chronic infections. Now, this has kind of been interesting in the last 3 years because I see more chronic infections in otherwise young, healthy people than I've ever seen. And I think if you were to go talk to your primary care doctors, they're going to say the same thing. What I'm telling you is just like Yvonne alluded to a minute ago, things have changed a lot in the last, it's 4 years now, I guess, right? Okay. Whatever you want to say is cause, right, wrong, or whatever, we would all agree things have changed over the last 4 years, which is why I'm standing right here, and you'll find that out in a few minutes. So anyway, you guys saw that. That's pretty straightforward. Okay, work.
Mm-hmm.
Go. There we go. Environmental factors, which could be, bad water, bad air. I mean, you can go paint your house and have problems from that. Household products, and this, by the way, is where it gets to go right along with where I talked about geographical areas. You compare chronic illness that we have here to Sweden, night and day difference. And we live differently, we eat differently, we are different level of activeness, which is another thing we'll talk about. Poor diet, which is also geographical. I used to, way back years ago, and Sheila, I don't know if you went back this far or not, but I used to do probably, I don't know, monthly, maybe every 3 months or something. I would do workshops, and I still have the old slides. The slide projector. You ever seen one of those? Where you go ka-chink, ka-chink, ka-chink. You're looking at me like I'm crazy. So, anyway, I used to do this workshop called Good Fats, Bad Fats. And I'd literally have cardiologists mad at me because I was recommending that people change the foods that they were eating. I was recommending that they take all man-made fats, including margarine, Crisco, all that garbage, and throw it in the trash. Instead of eating margarine, eat butter. You know, and I was talking about olive oil not to cook with. I was talking about coconut oil if you got to cook with it. Talking about, you know, eating avocados and taking fish oil supplements. And they were mad at me, and they'd tell their patients that I was crazy, didn't know what I was talking about. What do we know now?
All of that.
All of it is exactly right. Yeah, you're
That's
exactly
what I
right.
do every day.
Yeah, yeah. Now, unfortunately, just like always happens in the United States, like if you were to take even way back 20 years ago what I was talking about then, and then all of a sudden the information starts getting out to general, but not that I'm the only one that I was talking about. I was learning this from other people too. I mean, I understood biochemistry and what have you, but there were doctors like Barry Sears, and who's a medical doctor, you know. Dr. McCullough actually was a big part of getting this changed as well. But anyway, why did I tell you that?
That's
Yes.
cardiologists.
Yes, I got through all that. But
But you look at the diet stuff. I've seen some posts on Facebook, where, you know, from the 70s, and you see all these people running around on the beach, and there's no fat people
Right.
out there. I've seen pictures. I've seen my own. You know, I graduated in '85. I've seen my own high school pictures. Very few fat kids
or adults.
or adults.
Yep.
But you look at photos these days, and you know, you just drive past a restaurant, and it doesn't matter. A restaurant, it could be McDonald's, it could be steak and ale, it could be, I don't guess we have that anymore, but anything, and they're always full. Nobody cooks at home anymore, hardly, until there's a storm, and then there's nothing on the shelves at the grocery store.
But it's even bigger than that.
Yeah.
You know, for
It
the
seems
most
like
part,
if you turn the food pyramid upside down.
that's a big part. Yes, that's a big part too. But you know, you got to realize that you went to McDonald's as a kid. I went to McDonald's as a kid. Not a lot. You know, definitely not 3 or 4 or 5 times a week. That'd be
No.
like a once every great now and then.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you there. But do you think the McDonald's that we went to in the 70s and 80s is the same as the McDonald's you would go
No.
to today?
Definitely
It's
not.
it's absolutely not. It's nowhere close.
Well, and even if you go to the steak restaurant, you don't know if they've got fresh potatoes and fresh green beans that you're putting on your plate, or if it's coming out of a big can.
Well, and I'll tell you this, and the way that the steak is fed now, when you go back, okay, so when we were growing up, and we're talking feedlot raised, whether it's cattle, pigs, chickens, whatever, that's when agribusiness started getting really, really big, and of course we can get into all kinds of ethical stuff if you want to, but the fact of the matter is they started getting fed for one reason and one reason only, and what was that?
That and what-
To
To
fat
put
them
on the
up and
weight
make
to
more
gain
weight.
the money. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. And when you go look at it, it's really kind of freaky because it's totally different than it was, you know, whenever I was growing up. But what they feed those animals are the things that make us fat, right? And think about it. What do they feed cattle? Does anybody know what they feed cattle and feedlot?
Grain,
Okay, give me examples.
Corn.
Corn.
Wheat.
Wheat.
Barley.
Yeah,
Oats.
some.
Yeah.
Do they feed them oats? I don't know.
No, that's
Little bit,
usually.
but-
That's horses.
Well, yeah, you feed horses oats, and you like we did on the farm
Cornmeal,
some, but oats would be
hay.
way too expensive. Corn, so we have
Hay,
corn,
so
wheat,
hay, grass.
hay's a filler because they can't eat just grain or they'll everywhere. Okay, they will. So nobody's mentioned the last one. This
Chicken
is-
byproducts.
Chicken byproducts.
It's a you would call it a grain, but it's not a grain. And if I tell you what it is, you'll already know.
Soybean.
Soybeans, yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
But all of those are genetically modified.
Yes, and see, that's where I was going with this is that it's so different now, you know, because it's a Monsanto show now, and it has been for 30 years or better. So who knows what we got there? But I can tell you this. Here's the point of this. Soy, corn, wheat, and anything that eats those will raise inflammation. Period. Tenfold. right? So, I've got some stuff up here, and I'm gonna give this all to you guys here in a little bit. And it's just basic information. Remember I said make one change tonight. We're gonna make one change. If you wanna make more, that's fine, but let's make one change in the morning, right? There are ways to move away from that. You can go all the way from eating steak that is grain finished to grass fed. And by the way, you can't reasonably do it all the time. Do you follow me?
Yeah.
You know, you can't never go, I mean, I know, I could never go to McDonald's, but most people can't never go grab a burger at a fast food place. You know, I can go to Bronx, I just don't like McDonald's. Okay, so we could, diet's one of those, and nutrition's one of those we could talk about all night. So let's go on. Why are you not cooperating?
Another thing with that about diet is 30 years ago, people ate at home. You sat
Yep.
at the table and you ate.
That's what,
Right, and then you also did a lot of, you have
Yeah.
more exercise
Yeah.
back then
Yeah.
too.
yeah, there's a lot of truth in that because weight gain, for the most part, is more calories are consumed than are burned. Period. Weight loss is more calories are burned than are consumed. There's more to it because you have hormonal things and so forth. But hey, another two things, by the way, you talked about what things have changed, you know, since, what did you say, you graduated in 85?
I was trying to give you a chance to figure out where you were at.
Thank you.
I didn't mean to
I just take
shoot
it-
the squirrels in here.
I'll just take another rabbit trail, that's all. How many of you remember kids having peanut allergies when you were kids?
No,
None.
Everybody ate peanut butter and jelly
Absolutely,
sandwiches.
absolutely. What about,
Dairy allergies.
what about all these other allergies?
Yeah.
What about adults? Every once in a while, you might see an old person with rheumatoid arthritis, right?
Yeah.
well, I have rheumatoid arthritis, but it's,
Yeah, but go back to when you were a
Did
kid.
grandma have it?
Or even whenever
Well,
you were
that's
in your
true,
20s
yeah.
or 30s, right?
Yeah.
It just, you didn't see it. Let alone things like multiple sclerosis is through the roof, Lou Gehrig's disease is through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Look at ADHD in kids. Of course, that didn't exist until like 1995, I think. There's a whole nother topic there. But okay, so is it safe to say that we would all agree that chronic illness, obesity, allergies, whether food or what have you, is it safe to say that we would all agree that that has changed drastically in the last 30 plus years?
no,
Okay,
yeah,
all right, cool. We're on the same
absolutely.
page. Couple more. That'll work for me. Chronic stress, think that's gone up in the last 20, 30 years?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know what? There's a physiological reason that chronic stress causes inflammation. Also causes reduced immune system because it increases the amount of cortisol production and that decreases your immune function. Remember cortisol because we're going to come back to that. Sedentary lifestyle, which you guys just mentioned on that. We won't beat that dead horse. Smoking, obviously. Alcohol consumption as well, and then aging. Sorry, I can't do anything about this one, but as
Oh,
we get
come
older,
on.
it does happen.
Can't get that out.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Go back. Okay. So let's talk quickly. So this is going to get detailed here, so I'm not going to go into great detail, but it's important to understand the concepts, right? Okay. So how does inflammation cause chronic pain? It sounds really simple, and we all agree that inflammation leads to pain, whether it's an acute sprained ankle or a chronic back problem, right? But how does it actually cause the pain? There's different ways. And by the way, have you noticed that different people experience different types of pain for basically the same thing? Well, this is one of the reasons why.
And different levels.
That's right. Absolutely. So, one thing that happens with chronic pain, and this happens in many different ways, but there's a sense of I never can say this. Say the word sensitization. There we go. Good. Of nerves. Now, if you want to know the physiological term, it's called a hyperinfiltration of type C nerves. Okay? All right. That's the little nerves. Little nerves are pain nerves, believe it or not. The little bitty ones are pain nerves. Now, you guys have all experienced this. Anybody ever cut their finger and have a scar?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you were to go rub the skin right here and then rub the skin at the scar, what do you notice?
The
Where do you-
scar's
where-
numb.
Are you sure?
Wow. Or
It's
maybe
more sensitive.
More
Yeah,
sensitive.
it's more sensitive, and it's because it's an infiltration
Yeah.
of these nerve fibers. Same thing happens if it's your L5 disc, your medial meniscus, your right shoulder, right? And guess what happens over time? Worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Surprise, surprise, right? Nerve compression. Now this is more serious. So if you take somebody who has true sciatica, which by the way, I think I need to do an entire workshop on what's sciatica and what's not. But anyway, true sciatica caused by pressure on a nerve root in the spine could be due to nerve compression, meaning that there's inflammation that's putting pressure on the nerve that affects the message from that part of the body to the brain and the body down. So it could be a perception of pain or it could be a lack of function. So somebody could say, man, I've got all this pain in my leg and blah, 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 or they can say, I don't know why, but I can't pick my foot up anymore. You follow me? And people respond differently. Tissue damage, I think that kind of makes sense, that the tissue actually changes with that chronic inflammation. If I've shown you x-rays or somebody else has shown you x-rays, we talk about degenerative disc disease, we talk about bone spurs, that tissue has changed. That is not the same tissue as it ever was. It is physiologically changed from one thing to the next. I don't know what I was going to say on this one. Well, just increased pain. I don't remember what my example was. Inflammation actually around the nerves and the central nervous system itself. This is one of the reasons they try to do things like epidural steroid injections to the spine. And don't get me wrong, there's a time and place for that, but there's a drawback to it, and I'm going to share that with you in a minute. Because it's not all, pretty picture like you might think it is. So overall, we know that inflammation is a huge part of the cause of chronic pain, right? We now know that there's different causes of inflammation and different types of chronic pain. We would all agree that chronic pain gets worse over time, right? To say that, I think this is going to go away, not likely, right? Okay. Now, don't get me wrong, people learn how to manage chronic pain. We're going to talk about that too. So, toss out some common treatments you think for chronic pain. Like
Massage therapy.
massage therapy, okay, what else?
Medication,
Medication, give me some examples.
Lortabs, ibuprofen,
Lortab, ibuprofen, Aleve,
naproxen,
naproxen, turmeric, okay, so, yep, getting into the herbs, absolutely.
CBD.
CBD, right,
I heard of
exactly.
something called pre-resolving mediators. I read an article about a year ago, and I've got them. They're little soft gels.
I would have to see that in context, if
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I could bring it in sometime
Yeah,
to show.
yeah, bring it in, yeah. What are some other ones? Let's take it up a notch or two.
Well, steroid injections.
Steroid injections was the next one on the list, you're exactly right. What's after that if that doesn't work typically?
epidural,
It could be epidurals. What's after that? Steroids don't work, epidurals don't work.
Ablation.
Surgery, yeah, exactly right.
An ablation.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there's time and place for surgery. Ablation's just shutting off the nerve.
Right.
That's
And that
getting-
doesn't last long.
Mm-mm.
It only lasts
Why?
a month
Why
or
doesn't
so.
that last long? You now know.
They regenerate.
That's right.
That's
We just
right.
talked about it, the hyperinfiltration
Right.
of the type C, right? Beta type C.
Right.
Remember that? Okay, so let's talk through those real quick. I'm not used to having to talk this much. All right, so have you heard of the term NSAIDs?
Mhm.
Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs is what that stands for. So non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, blah, blah, blah. You know what have you ever heard what their classification is called? Have you ever heard of the term COX-2 inhibitor?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what aspirin and ibuprofen and Bextra and all these other prescriptions that I can't think of now. That's what they are. At least that's what they're classified as. If you read the research, they really don't know. They say we think this is what this does. Seriously, that's what it says. So anyway, but they're not steroids. So they have a different mechanism of action, which is this COX-2 inhibitor. Now, acetaminophen, Tylenol, is not on this list. Okay, it is not an NSAID. It is a pain reliever. Totally different. Okay. So they work by inhibiting the production of these prostaglandins by blocking this enzyme. I can draw it out for you, but it's a little boring, right? Now, interestingly enough, so like when we talk about, does it say cytokines up here? It doesn't. Okay. So if we were looking at this and you have this bad fat, we're going to make a big topic small. We have this bad fat that is broken down by COX-2 enzyme into anti-inflammatories and inflammatories that are called cytokines, and then there are also ones called glucotrienes. So if the COX-2 inhibitor is supposed to stop the breaking down of this bad fat into inflammatory cytokines, what I can't ever get anybody to answer, and I've talked to the experts, is if it also blocks the production of the anti-inflammatory. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So there's COX-1 and COX-2, well, nobody can tell you. Well, they can't tell me anyway. So let's talk about the next most serious is corticosteroids. Now, a while ago I mentioned something that goes up. Your body produces a lot of under chronic stress. Started with a C.
Cortisone.
Cortisol. You see that in here anywhere? Corticosteroids.
Uh-huh.
That's what they are. It's cortisol, right? That's where it came from, right? It's produced from your adrenal glands, the glands on your kidneys. Okay. Examples from pharmaceuticals would be prednisone, dexamethasone, Medrol dose pack, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anabolic steroids. They're all steroids, right? Now, they're really good at reducing pain and inflammation fairly quickly. Has anybody ever experienced that?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, absolutely. Would you agree that these are a lot of times used with what could be acute or chronic, a knee injury or a back injury or hip or bursitis or all these different things? Pretty common, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One thing that all of those tissues have in common is soft tissue is the problem. Would you agree? Absolutely. Whether it's a cartilage problem or a tendon problem or a ligament problem, right? Well, look at this right here. I think you'll find this very interesting that nobody's ever told you this before. This is extremely important to understand. These, Larry, you can't see, can you? Sorry.
I'm looking on my phone.
These mimic, by the way, every drug you take is designed to mimic something the body already produces. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's going to mimic the action of cortisol, which is naturally produced. Corticosteroids suppress the immune system and they reduce inflammation by inhibiting the production of inflammatory cytokines. We've already talked about that, and immune cells. Oh, this doesn't have what I want to tell you. Okay, I got to tell you on the next one then. When I get to it, I'm getting ahead of myself. And the topical treatments, I think that's all pretty standard.
Yeah.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm trying to get us out of here by 7. Well, if I can find this on my slide, I'll tell you. Remind me to come back to steroids because I got to tell you some important things. So, I just created a really quick pros and cons of the common treatments, and I just thought of another one. But would you agree that for the most part, it's pretty easy to get what we just talked about, whether it's NSAIDs or corticosteroids, right? Okay. Would you agree that they kind of act pretty fast? I mean, if you've got a minor pain and you go pop a Advil or something, a lot of times you can feel relief within 30 minutes to an hour, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, you go break your arm and they give you, Tylenol 800 or codeine or whatever. Does it make you feel better?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And they're relatively cheap, right? Okay. Cons. Temporary relief. Says so on the bottle. Not to be used long term. Not to use more than 6 or 8 a day.
Right.
Now, my wife Melissa and I back in the college days when we were, nothing could ever happen to us. Even though we both
You
had
were
bad headaches.
invincible.
Invincible. That's what I was looking for. We'd go to Sam's, buy a big bottle of ibuprofen, big bottle of acetaminophen, and use one liquid's working and use it. So I've been on this end. I just don't want to ever go back. Stomach problems. Anybody ever heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
Those kind of drugs, right? Oh, by the way, when you're talking about steroids, weight gain's a big one. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is what I was telling you about a minute ago. Do they block the anti-inflammatory cytokines? All of those, every single one of them that I mentioned, every single one of them increases the risk of heart disease, heart attack, strokes, and particularly used in high doses for a long period of time. All of them do. They tell you to take a baby aspirin for your heart. Go read the research on it. You'll read platelet activity, which is true, but it's so minimal that it doesn't even happen. But whenever you go look at this, because remember I talked about the different types of inflammatory cytokines and leukotrienes, there's anti-inflammatory, inflammatory. Well, when you, kind of generally speaking, whenever you go look at this, if you take a bad fat that is my fist right here, and let's say we have 100 units of this bad fat, and we give it to this person, that person is going to take that and break it down to inflammatory cytokines and leukotrienes. That's what causes the joint pain. That's what causes the heart disease, heart attacks, and so forth. So if we give it 100 units of this, and let's say, just for argumentative purposes, that it's split even 50-50 between joints and circulatory system. Okay? Just for argumentative purposes. Now we're going to give them a drug that blocks the production of the one that goes to the joints so they can feel better. What are we doing?
Increasing what goes to the
Where's it going?
circulatory system.
Thank you. It goes to the circulatory system. Now, I believe it was Merck got in trouble. I don't know what it's been. Might have been 10 years ago now. And I think theirs was Bextra. Remember when Celebrex came out and Bextra came out? Meloxicam is another one. Those are all guys. They're all fancy aspirins. They're all expensive aspirin after the patent ran out on aspirin. That's what every single one of them is. And then each one of them tries to say that we don't cause as much stomach problems. But, gosh, I think it was Merck. Anyway, huge fine from the FDA, which is hard to get for pharmaceutical companies anymore. But they got it, and they had to quit making it because they knowingly suppressed the data that showed you had up to a 15 times greater chance of dying due to heart attack or stroke when taking their own medication.
Wow.
They had the data and buried it, and they got caught. Did you know that?
No, because I never took
No. Okay, so anyway, and then it never actually fixes the problem and becomes a lifelong treatment. So what about steroids? Oh, good, I did have this in here. Corticosteroids actually suppress the immune system. That's one of the ways that they work. Okay, that's why if somebody has some of these arthritises that we talk, inflammatory diseases that we talked about, that they're given steroids long term. Now, sometimes the people have to some degree just to be able to survive. There's going to be the negative side effects, or negative effects, they're not side effects. There's going to be the negative effects just because that's the way the body works and that's the way physiology and chemistry works. But it's a choice they have to make. Do you follow me? But for somebody that's not in that boat to regularly be having steroids, not a good deal. So this is what's important with steroids. They will impair the normal healing response because here's what they do. Now remember we talked about most times whenever you're getting these substances, steroids, it's for soft tissue issues, right? But look what it does to soft tissue. You might feel good in the short term, but the fibroblasts, so it's going to inhibit the fibroblast activity, which are involved in the synthesis of collagen. Does anybody know where collagen is used? In connective tissue, right? Now you think about it in your lips and stuff like that, but it's in all of your connective tissue, right? All of your discs between your vertebra, it's your meniscus, it's your tendons, your ligaments, so forth. So yeah, primary structural protein and connective tissues. So the corticosteroids, you can get a shot there and you can feel better and you actually disrupt the healing process of that soft tissue. Which is why the treatment that I'm going to talk to you about, if you've had a steroid shot in the last 12 to 14 days, you don't qualify. At least not for 12 to 14 days. Why? Because what we're going to do is actually going to heal that tissue. And if you've done that, that process is already disrupted, so we have to wait till that passes. Okay? Let's see. Decreases angiogenesis. Who knows what angiogenesis is? It's an increase of circulation of blood flow. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So forming new blood vessels, which your body will do. You know, it will do because it survives. It wants to survive, right? So it's essential for delivering oxygen and nutrients to healing tissues. Corticosteroids, they suppress this, right? Feel better while you're getting worse. Yep. Suppresses inflammatory cells, right? So what they can reduce inflammation, but they also suppress activity of inflammatory cells involved in the early stages of the healing process. We've already talked about how inflammation has its good points, right? Well, this is like a shotgun for a broad spectrum antibody that goes out there and takes care of all of it as opposed to being selective. It actually does weaken tendons too. So you can see, like if you follow sports, follow football, predominantly football, you'll see where they're taking steroids, stuff like that, and that's when they rupture their biceps tendon, they rupture their Achilles tendon, and by the way, it's not just there, it's systemic. You never know which one's going to blow. because part of this, and I didn't put that on there, is that the body is being broken down and repaired every day. So you got to realize that in 1 year from today, when you're sitting here again, Judd, right, 98% of your physical body will have been replaced. So that's pretty cool. So what can you, everybody here, I told you I wanted to be able to take home some stuff today, and I've got some stuff for you. What can you do today that's going to reduce your chronic pain, reduce your inflammation, and get you on to living the healthier, active life that you would like to? So here are some strategies. Number one, eat a balanced diet. Now, when you look at your slides, I had an oopsie on there that I fixed a while ago. So if you find it, I'll tell you not to do it. So anyway, eat real food. Eat food as fuel. Eat food as building blocks 80% of the time, okay? I'm not saying don't go have ice cream. I'm not saying don't go have a cheeseburger. Set your boundaries. Even if it's 50-50. Even if it's I'm going to reduce it by 20%. Find out what it is that you can really, really do. Set that goal. And with a goal, you always make your goal specific. You always set yourself a timeline to reach that goal, right? And believe it or not, you always set yourself a reward. Now, I wouldn't make Del Rancho chicken fried steak sandwich and fries your reward in this situation. Okay? Let's come up with something a little better, but you follow me? Okay.
Chuck House is better, by the way.
Is it? I haven't been to Chuck House. I've only been to Del Rancho once. I admit, as you're going, it tastes pretty good. Guys, processed foods, you've probably heard this. When you go shopping, do as much as you can to stay on the outside of the aisles instead of going down the aisles. If it's in a box, it's bad almost all the time, okay? And I've got some information here on you. I give it to you now, but then you don't just start reading it and pay attention. include anti. I used to be a teacher. Does anybody know that? See, I know these tricks. All right, so anti-inflammatory foods, and we can go into a lot of detail on this. And you're trying to be tricked every single day that you go buy any kind of food. They're lying to you and they're tricking to you, and I can prove it to you. And it makes me so dang mad because they come off of the good fats that we talk about and the bad fats, and they manipulate the whole system for their own financial gain. It frustrates the heck out of me. So, name me a type of fish that you think is anti-inflammatory, good and healthy. Salmon, very good. And very wrong.
Wild salmon.
At the same time. Okay, very good. Wild salmon, very good. More specifically,
Trout.
Atlantic.
you about can't get any trout that's good for you in the United States anymore. Yeah, because it's all farm raised, which I'll get to in a second. Oh, not bad, except for it is high in mercury. I love tuna, but it's high in mercury. Jen, you said wild caught, and you are correct, but there's more details to it. Wild caught where?
Alaska.
Alaska's best, Pacific Ocean for sure. Okay, Atlantic salmon you can almost always guarantee is farm raised, and I'll tell you just real quickly about farm raised. What's a fish that you see on the menu that you really should never eat?
Tilapia.
Thank you, yay, tilapia.
Tilapia.
Okay, it's a pest fish. It wasn't ever supposed to be here. What they do, do you know what they do? Well, tilapia they actually farm raise like catfish, but in the Atlantic Ocean where they do the Atlantic salmon, you know how they do that? They'll have, it's actually part of the ocean, and so, at least it used to be, and so they have it all netted off to where they can have all these salmon in there that are farm raised, and they have them jam packed in there, just like you see in the United States. We have the chickens and cattle and whatever, and of course, some fish live, some fish die, right? Do you know what they do with the dead fish?
Eat them.
Feed 'em.
The other fish eat them.
Well, they literally take them off top, ground them up, and they feed them back to them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they do. But their food, do you think it's anti-inflammatory food or highly inflammatory food?
Environment.
Highly inflammatory food because it is cheap. Corn, wheat, and soy is cheaper than and faster at fattening than. Okay, so you know I grew up on a
So
farm.
cod?
Wild cod's good, yeah.
Wild caught cod.
Yeah, I don't know if there is any farm raised cod. So
Okay.
now with fish, I'll warn you, you've still got to beware of mercury. You've still got to beware of PCB and lead because fish, especially fatty fish like a cod, right? That's how they float is because of their liver and their oil
Okay.
content, or they not float.
But
so they
salmon
turn
is
them-
best, right?
wild caught more Alaskan salmon is best. Our oceans are in trouble. I mean, we've got all kinds of pollutants there. But as far as an inflammatory, good fat versus bad fat, yes, that would be the place to go. Olive oil is good. Like extra virgin olive oil is very good to eat, but never ever cook with it. Okay. Have you guys ever heard the terms trans fats?
Yeah.
Okay, trans fats, good fats or bad fats?
Bad.
Absolute worst you could ever have, right? Give me an example of something that is just loaded with trans fats.
Bakery items.
Yes, because they have what in them?
Lard.
No, lards, no, that's saturated fat. Hydrogenated. So give me an example of something you pick up off the shelf in the grocery store.
Bread,
I can't believe it's not.
butter.
Butter,
So it's
So
margarine.
it's margarine.
You're exactly right.
Well,
okay?
all that is like fat, isn't it?
It's partially
Margarine?
hydrogenated. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a liquid. Okay, so the process of hydrogenation is a organic chemistry thing. Okay, what they're doing is they're boiling it with nickel, which is actually causing the arrangement. If you ever took chemistry or any kind of science class where you had the little balls and pegs and you would mix it around, you can make a vast, enormous difference by moving one of those same balls to a different place when you talk chemistry. It's huge, huge. So in a nutshell, that is how you make a partially hydrogenated or a trans fat. Okay, so you'll get this. Now, when I used to teach this, people didn't get this. You guys have heard these words cis and trans? They stole them from chemistry, okay?
Oh.
Because trans is across and cis is side by side, right? Okay, and so it was all about where those atoms were. Berries are good, not really including grapes. Ginger, turmeric, garlic, leafy greens, nuts. Okay, peanuts are not nuts. Peanuts are bad, okay, in more than one way.
Almonds are best.
Yes,
Almonds,
cashews aren't
walnuts.
nuts either, which by the way is relatively new information to me a few years ago. Yeah, they're actually not nuts.
Even
Yeah.
cashews are part of the family of
Well, that's okay. See, the thing about nutrition is it's so frustrating in food is that you can be told one day that coffee and chocolate and red wine is the best thing in the world for you, and there's all these studies, and that's all you hear, and the next day you will hear the exact opposite. So that's always frustrating me about this. But so when they talk to you about almonds, they'll start. If I want to make almonds look bad, I can make almonds look bad because I'll talk about the amount of arsenic that they have in them, which is minuscule. Unless you're eating a lot of almonds. You find me?
from the poison ivy
Yeah.
family?
I don't know.
I think they are.
I don't know. Great question. I don't know. Okay, we got to truck along here. Managing stress, I think that would be a given, right? Massage helps a lot with that. Physical activity, that's another thing that if you want to say that, look, I'm going to commit to walking 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week. It's another really good one that's not really hard, right? And then you can up it. I will tell you this, that I see on a regular basis, is when people come in hurting, they don't want to do anything. They don't want to change their diet. They don't want to quit their Diet Cokes. They don't want to go to the gym or anything like that, okay? And I can also tell you this, is that as they are getting better with no instruction from me, they come to me and they say, hey, I want to join the gym. Or I want to do some more exercise. Or what exercise should you think I do? Or, hey, I started studying on how to eat healthy and all this stuff. I didn't have to tell them a thing, right? Because the way we feel and our mood, if you will, is inversely proportional to what we do to help ourselves to be more healthy. You follow me? Okay. Obviously, maintaining a healthy weight is good. I'm trying to go a little faster here. Get adequate sleep. Okay.
It was just an hour.
Sorry, it was supposed to be.
It's okay, sorry.
Stay hydrated. Drink lots of water throughout the day. Limit alcohol consumption. Not smoking. And then here's herbal supplements, which, you know, the last few years has gotten a lot more popular. When you're talking about turmeric and ginger and excuse me, different teas, boswellia, bromelain, which isn't on there.
Cayenne pepper will thin your blood and stop a heart attack, they say.
I don't know if it would stop an active heart attack or not. That's pretty tough, but I don't know, maybe.
Give me heartburn.
Right, it will.
What is that?
So you forget about the heartache.
Cayenne pepper.
Oh, cayenne pepper,
Do you
that's,
want-
and that's good for inflammation, it's also good for weight loss.
I do it.
Any hot
Mix it
peppers
with,
with.
You wanna hear a really
Honey.
interesting thing?
Uh-huh,
This is a physiological thing. This is why we're running over, because I could go on rabbit trails all day long. You know, like when you eat a hot pepper, how it burns your tongue? It doesn't burn your tongue. Not at all. It tricks you into thinking your tongue's burned. Because our skin, and you know, anything that's gonna touch surface, has receptors that tells us that's hot or cold, right? So all it does is changes the regulation with that, changes your perception. So now you think that milk is hot, but it's not, because it's changed that. You follow me? We're about through some pretty cool stuff, and then we'll get going here. So I'm gonna go through these quickly. Here's how we can help you get rid of your chronic pain and get your life back. And really, this is a somewhat comprehensive list that it kind of takes it all to get it to work in most cases. But through chiropractic care, we reduce inflammation by improving joint function, improving overall health and wellness, and you know, people's desired activity level, promote better overall musculoskeletal health. We can also help with massage therapy, being able to increase circulation, increase lymphatic drainage. Obviously, those of you that have massages, you know that it's stress relieving. It does increase your endorphins and ecphins, which are your natural pain relievers. Modulates neurotransmission and obviously relaxes muscles. Physical therapy, stretch, strengthen, and balance your muscles. Pretty plain and simple. Spinal decompression, depending on how severe people are. This is degenerative disc disease, herniated bulging disc, and so forth. We have spinal decompression that can actually take that pressure off. Cold laser, which is pretty cool. A couple of you in here have had this done before. What cold laser does is it actually causes the body at the cellular level to produce more energy. And that energy promotes healing. It decreases healing times. It increases the anti-inflammatory prostaglandins and cytokines. And there we go, I think anyway, I just said all that. Nutrition and dietary counseling. Believe it or not, some people need me to go to the grocery store with them. I don't ever have time to, but we ought to have a group party, right? We'll go to everybody's house and you get to throw away her stuff, she gets to throw away your stuff, and then we go shopping, she throws your part, we do better things then, wouldn't we? Okay? So anyway, if we can do that as well. Now, this is gonna take a minute to get up to this, because I gotta tell you a story about this. So, is anybody in here, okay, so we all agreed earlier that everything's just gotten worse. Inflammation's got worse, chronic pain's got worse, and I will agree with you completely on that. So, would you like to learn, anybody like to learn about something that drastically reduces that inflammation extremely rapidly and improves function that's literally almost unbelievable?
Yes.
Everybody's interested in that? Okay. I gotta tell you a quick little story first of why we're here tonight. You know, I've been doing this over 21 years, and I have found patterns in people, and I have found patterns in groups of people in different periods of time. As you might expect, right now, up until Memorial Day, I get new people and people who I haven't seen or haven't seen as often who come in because they've injured themselves because it's not winter time. They went from sitting on their butt to building a shed or building a fence or water skiing or gardening, yard work or whatever, and they overdo it, and I see them, okay? The opposite of that happens in the fall. In the fall, typically in October, I see not only cold and flu season, and I've said this for years, it's not cold and flu season, it's sit around on your butt, eat like crap, not do the healthy things that you need to do so your immune system goes down and you catch this. You follow me? You know, the flies aren't created by the trash, but they find the trash. It's that kind of thinking. So every year for we'll say 20 years, because this year is different. Maybe even the same people would come in, but I don't know what to do to help them. I would know, even if we had to say, all right, hey man, you gotta get back to taking your fish oil supplement, which by the way, if you're gonna get into that, talk to me before you do, and I'll try to send you in the right direction. You know, let's get you off the grains, let's get you off the sugar. And so we could do these things that have always worked. And some of these people I've known for years and years and years. Well, I can tell you that this fall, there's a significant portion of people that didn't work for. Things that have always worked. And as you might expect, these patients are frustrated, right? They don't understand. And some of them are having significant effects of their daily life. Not able to sleep, not able to travel, not able to play golf, not able to do things that they really should be able to do. And I'm getting frustrated because I'm not helping them like I used to help them. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still helping the vast majority of people, but there's a good, say, 20% of these people that I've known that all of a sudden, what I'm doing is not working. And it's not a medication that's gonna fix them. It's not an herb that's gonna fix them. It's not a different type of chiropractic adjustment. It's not a new physical therapy. I mean, none of that's gonna work. So I'm trying to figure out what this is. It's really bothering me. And I keep telling myself this was around Christmas time whenever I realized this, but I was thinking about what is it? What's different? Why are these people hurting and it not going away? I mean, obviously getting older, we all get older, but it's not, none of them are surgical cases. Some of them even went and tried things like epidural steroids that did nothing to help them, nothing at all. And so I'm trying to figure out, what is this? What's different? Food's not different. You know, their weight's about the same. Nothing's really different. So then this is about Christmas time, it hit me. The one thing that's different, the absolute one thing that's changed, is that we know COVID now. And here's what I personally think. This is my theory, and it makes perfect sense. And I've been watching autopsy videos of COVID since a lot of you even knew, before you even knew COVID existed. Okay. I do believe that we are even more inflamed right now in what I would call a persistent post-COVID inflammation, because COVID does that. That's what it does. Even the vaccine. Sorry if you took it or didn't take it or whatever. The reaction is going to be the same. So there will be inflammation and it will continue. And you know, we've seen athletes keeling over right and left that are young and otherwise healthy. And the question is why? And I'm not saying it's shock or not shock. I'm saying that what the COVID virus itself has done to increase inflammation, whether naturally acquired or artificially acquired, is nuts. And that's the only other explanation I can come up with, right? So I went on a search because I'm like, okay, we can't live this way. And you know, I run into the same things that you guys, we've all talked about tonight. You know, these people can't live on medication, it doesn't work. The other stuff we talked about might help some, but it still doesn't work like it used to, right? So I got to study and I talked to some colleagues and I learned about something called shock waves. Not electrical shock waves. They're acoustic shock waves. Anybody ever heard of shock waves? I know you've heard of it. So you, anybody ever heard of shock waves therapy? Not electric. Right? I know. So this gets you going, right? Okay, so let's talk about it. Because it works like you wouldn't believe. Better than my keyboard. This is what I'm talking about right here. This is a device right here that was made in Switzerland. It's used extensively in Europe, predominantly for wound care. That's the main thing that they use it for. In fact, in Europe, like they go and have open heart surgery, they're going to use a very similar device. Same company, different applicator, because different purposes, right? And they actually use this on the heart to speed up the healing and reduce inflammation, bad inflammation, increase blood flow, right? So what does it do? This is it in a nutshell. My daughter and my wife made this for me. So this is in our room over here. So, and I'll show you this. I actually don't have one picture up here that needs to be up here, and I can't believe it's not up here. Anyway, this is the only one that we have in Oklahoma. There's some knockoff cheaper things that don't work as well, and I can go through the science with you on that if you want. They do cause increase of blood flow, right? 300%. Causes decrease of inflammation 90% in 45 seconds. And I'm going to show you real life examples of that right in front of your face here in just a second. It activates stem cells within 45 minutes. Who can tell me what a stem cell is?
So the
Building block, it makes
It
everything.
absolutely
everything,
is.
yes.
Okay? A
And
stem
it
cell, the
regenerates
scientific,
itself.
the scientific term for a stem cell is undifferentiated. So if this was a stem cell, the body will use it to whatever it needs it to be. It could be skin tissue, it could be heart tissue, it could be eye, and then as we were all developing, there's a point where it's differentiated and it can no longer be something else. But when it's undifferentiated, that's why for stem cell stuff they want to go after umbilical cord blood and stuff like this, which I don't even know if they can do that anymore. Most patients feel immediate pain relief, meaning like moments after. It continues healing over a 12-week process. 12 weeks, right? Most people only need about 3 treatments in that area, and it does have a 90% success rate. And so we're going to, backwards. Here are some success rates, and I'm going to show you some stuff that just blow your mind. Because I'm going to tell you straight up, even after doing tons of research on this, and I'll give you access to my research drive if you want it, which is my Google Drive where I have all the research in there. Talking to other clinicians, I bought this house, this machine that might as well be a house for what it costs. Based off of the research, based off of the need that I see, and based off of colleagues and their results that they'd had over the months they've had it. And so when I brought it in, I went and handpicked, and a couple of you in here were handpicked and invited to this and couldn't make it, or we had email issues or whatever. But I took some of my most difficult cases and was really kind of blown away. So I'm going to show you this gal here. You're actually going to see video of her here in a minute. So talks about her hoop, it's her hip, is already loose at night. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a video of it here in a minute. Cindy comes in, arms, shoulders already much better, and I've got video of that too, but I can't put everything in here. Sometimes the button works, sometimes it doesn't. This gal right here, okay, I've been seeing her for other reasons. I had no idea she had plantar fasciitis and foot and heel pain. I had no idea. So when I offered this to her, it was for her other area. And she said, when I told her how it works, she says, I want to use it on my feet. I'm like, okay. And I got a video of her here in a minute too. So she comes in, she's had plantar fasciitis and foot pain for over 8 years. I never even knew it. Never a step without pain, right? We've got her gait walking down the hall here. You can see, I think you can see in a minute. And now we just did one foot because this is kind of a test group for me too, right? So you're looking at it as a little bit of a scientific purpose here. And she gets up, she walks out, no limp, no pain. I mean, it's crazy, in 8 years. And this is one session. Keith, 90% better, one session. Doyle, he was the most skeptical patient I've had, and he's a super nice guy. But I mean, I'm dead serious. He was super skeptical. And I said, are you sure you want to do this? Yeah, I'll do it. And then he got up in total disbelief, and he had zero pain. And this is a tough case. This is a really tough case. Hey, we know this lady. Anybody seen this lady? Is that true?
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had my second session today.
Yeah. And how long's that been hurting?
Oh, years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom, who I don't have pictures of in here, and I don't have testimonial.
But I have had both my knees replaced,
Yep.
and we assume it's because of the
No.
constant inflammation I've had in my body
Yep.
or my back or my hip. Yeah.
My mom and dad, and they're, gosh, how old are my parents? They're born in 48, so early 70s. Well, maybe 75 almost, wow. So anyway, they live in Buffalo, which is 3 hours from here. My sister lives in Enid, so hour and something from here. And they'll go stay with her and what have you. So they came in for their second treatments today. Dad's is a low back issue. Mom's is a left hip issue. And I'm telling you, when I would go touch her like this, Jen, she's
Oh.
she's getting mad at me because I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So we do this one treatment, and I'm not gonna kid you. The treatment is painful. Is it unbearable? No. It's like a
It hurts.
it does, but it's a hurt so good, and every single patient who's done it will agree. So it's nothing you want to be scared of by the pain. I've had it done myself because I developed a shoulder issue working on all you guys, and it actually really does work. I didn't think it was as bad as it was. I didn't realize how bad it was until after it wasn't bad, and I was like, oh. So anyway, she really did hobble in. She walked.
I
up.
did really hobble in when I came in. My back hurt so bad.
So you know I'm not making people up here, so Rose is actually here. Okay, this guy right here, some of the worst shoulder issues I've ever seen, ever. And when I go to work on him, we tried it one time, and we both agreed we're never gonna try that again. Because he was just too bad. This is in his kitchen. His wife took this picture, wife or daughter, one of the two. That was before, that was after one treatment. Which Mr. Ford has more inflammation? The one on your left or the one on your right?
Oh, no.
Absolutely, right. And it's a 12-week process. This is 30 minutes or something. So the process has just begun. Now this is my brother, okay? And it's a funny crop deal because I didn't think about using this whenever he came to do this. So I told him I'd crop his belly out. Because he would crop mine out. Now, my brother is 3 years younger than me. We grew up very similar lifestyles. He was a little rougher than I was. But we both grew up on a farm. We both grew up playing football. He had some motorcycle wrecks, some four-wheeler wrecks, tore up shoulders and what have you. And I called him because I kind of forgot about it. You know, that's years ago, and I never really thought about him living in chronic pain all the time. So I really just called him to tell him about it because I was so excited about it. So one morning I called and we were visiting a little bit. And I said, hey, can I share something with you? And so he's like, yeah, sure. So I was sharing it with him. He says, man, if that'd work on my shoulders, I was like, I totally forgot about his shoulders. So he comes in and he, like I said, he's 3 years younger than me, so he'll be 48 in May. And this is his most painful motion. So I have him do it. So this is max that he can move in pain, right? That's it, which kind of blew me away because I didn't know he was that bad. So this is immediately after one treatment. It's take a picture, do the treatment, take a picture. What do we notice?
Oh, absolutely.
A whole lot better, right?
Yeah.
Okay? He lives in Buffalo, it's 3 hours away, right? He came down for his second treatment, because remember I said it generally only takes 3 treatments. He came down for his second treatment last Saturday. See why it's waking me up 3 o'clock in the morning.
You didn't crop his belly.
I cropped
He probably didn't care.
He didn't care.
Oh.
That's a big difference, guys.
That's mine.
So, you know, I know Matt sees this as, oh, hey, man, my shoulders feel better. I can do more. I can sleep. And every single one of you will see that with whatever your issue is, should you qualify for this and do this, you'll see that for you. That's not at all what I see. What I see is the thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people that are suffering like that every single day, that are taking the medications that are doing them more harm, if not extreme amounts of harm. The ones that are fighting with their spouse or their kids because they're miserable. The ones that are drinking too much because they're miserable. Maybe they're taking illegal drugs. You catch my drift? So I wake up thinking, my gosh, if this can do this for these people, because I'm seeing it, and you'll see it here again, over and over and over again. It's like it's a mission.
And did you say that's the second treatment? That's not even the third?
That's after his second treatment.
Up there at the top, it says crop.
Doc didn't pay attention to that, so he didn't.
I saw it.
So
It's just because it showed his feet and everything, and it was way strung out.
Um,
I showed you it's on my phone.
So, Doc, did you do it on one shoulder?
I did both shoulders.
Both?
I did both shoulders. Yep. So we did both shoulders each time.
How long is the process about?
Once you're through the first visit, what, 10 minutes?
10 or 15 minutes, yeah.
So a shoulder, 2 shoulders would be double. Yep.
That's amazing.
Well,
The first session takes longer because he's in there and he explains every step of the way, you know, and he's doing the
we gotta figure it out.
procedure. So it just takes a little longer the first
It
time. The
does.
second
When you got
time
questions too.
didn't yes, and you
Yep.
got questions. And the second time didn't take long. Today I had mine. I was in and out in like 10 minutes.
We scheduled 30 minutes for your first session, 15 for the others. Yeah. I got behind today, but my parents were also 20 minutes late getting here. Okay, so this is Kim. I showed you her picture earlier, right? So this is a right hip problem, right? Now, Kim did decompression with me way back when my office was in Edmond, because I did spinal decompression for the right reasons well before it became cool. Now everybody does it, people mark it and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, News 9 came in and restored her in her office, and she was the patient that they interviewed and everything. And it was pretty cool. So she never has had to have back surgery, and she was supposed to way back then. And that was a long time ago. How long ago was that? 16, 18 years ago?
Yeah, probably.
Long time. So we're gonna treat her right hip. So you're gonna watch your range of motion here. Maybe. So this is the maximum that she could do. Yes, she has good balance. She does work out and do a lot of healthy things.
It's a good.
She's trying to cross her
got a
leg
lot
like
better
that. That's what
balance
she's
than I
trying
Trying
to
to
do.
go over.
She's trying to do that right there on the last minute.
That's where she
Would you
goes.
say that's good or not so good?
Not so good.
Not so good, okay? This is immediately after the first treatment. We walked right out here, did it again. Is it better?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely better, okay? Now, unfortunately, and she's gonna try to cross her leg again. It's better, but still not great, right? But we just started. How long's the process? The healing process?
12 weeks.
12
weeks, right. So you're best at 12 weeks. Okay. She comes back, now unfortunately, okay, this is on a Friday morning. Unfortunately, Saturday, she was walking, carrying grocery stuff, had water bottles, and one of them fell out, and she stepped on it.
Oh,
And she landed on her left knee. In fact, she wasn't gonna come in, because she was scheduled for Tuesday, so she couldn't walk. She couldn't put any weight on her or anything, which is a whole nother story that we get to on another day. But she does come in on, oh, that's not her, hold on. Do I not have it on there?
I think it might be out of order.
All right, hold on. I know I've got it in here. All right, stop. How come I can't get to? Huh. Did you move that one a while ago, Melissa?
That's not the one I moved. Go on past Kristen. Up there. Nope. Go on past Kristen.
Well, that's gotta be fixed. Come on. I'll show you Kristen here in a minute. Hers pretty cool too. Why is it in there 3 times? 4. Okay, this is 4 days after her first treatment. So we did Friday morning to Saturday to Sunday to Monday. This is Tuesday afternoon, middle afternoon.
And is
And
this
she fell
before the
Saturday.
treatment
This
or
is
after?
before the treatment.
Okay, so this
before
is
the
after
treatment.
the water bottle, but before the treatment.
Yes, and so
Ooh.
she fell on her left, she fell on both knees, but her left knee took the brunt. So you'll notice her here when she first goes to stand up. She's a little wibbly on the left leg. Doesn't hurt her anymore, but she's wibbly on it. So watch this. Any difference?
Yeah.
A lot.
Huge, right? And she's already done all 3 of her treatments. She did no issues.
oh, now that's markedly improved. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Now, is Kristen's gonna be right here, Melissa? Are they in the right order?
That's the after.
So this is the
That's
before,
the
right?
before. Yeah.
Okay, so otherwise healthy woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's as far as she can raise her arms without pain. That's as far as she can raise them, period. Okay? On treatment, same room, same everything.
Oh,
Oh,
Cool, huh?
she's like, I can't believe it.
really?
We are very near the end. Oh, okay. I told you I'd show you this one. This is plantar fasciitis. It's left foot. Can you guys see her limping on her left foot?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I actually got to turn the volume up on this one, which means I got to shut the music off too. It'll let me do this. Because I wanted you to hear her talk. I just did all this a while ago and why it won't let me.
Cause you're in a hurry.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go past this one. Okay, this is her right after.
Oh,
Right now, we just did her left foot because that was her worst foot. And she's going to talk to you here in a minute. Well, she wasn't talking to you. She was talking to me, but me and the owner of the
my
company.
goodness.
Yeah. She walked a mile. Was that yesterday or today?
Today.
Today.
She walked a mile
She
today?
walked a mile
That's
today.
awesome.
Her husband got on to me. He came with her a second time. I said, so what do you think about this crazy foot thing? He says, I don't like it. She's making me walk too much.
She walks around smiling all the time, she says.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's really crazy, the transformation. I'm trying to get this to exit here because I'm wanting to turn off the, we've got the House FM going in the background. I didn't think about this. Sorry we're late.
I'll catch up with you later.
Okay, here's her words. Sorry, hopefully we can hear it. No, that's not gonna work. Okay.
What if you press that Windows button down there at the
Oh,
bottom
is that
right?
the one? Maybe I was pressing, no, I tried it.
Okay. Well, then just escape out.
I have tried that about
Oh.
10 times.
It's not letting you, huh?
So we remember slide 40. Now maybe it'll let me when it gets off of videos.
Mm.
It's not usually used this much.
Yeah.
Oh, I might have just messed up big time there.
Hit escape too many times.
Yeah.
I'm about ready to snap a keyboard. Alright, Melissa, what do I do besides hit the Windows button?
Oh, there you go.
There, finally.
You just needed her to come up there.
I guess. What house that
Are you the tech keyboard?
Well, sometimes he's.
She's the one that wasn't gonna break the keyboard.
Throw the board out the window.
Throw the board out the window, huh?
Alright. We were just about there.
Pop up a note.
Maybe this is a faster way to do it. Of course not. Maybe. I bet this is the way. Ta-da. Now I'm gonna have everything all messed up.
And she's back here going, oh my God, what's he doing? What's he doing?
There you go. Just slide the bar on the right down.
There we go. Thank you. I was totally overlooking that. It's way easier said than done with this little keyboard. All right, here we go. We are about there.
Too much.
Hmm.
All right. new slideshow. I don't know how loud this is gonna be. It could be very loud.
And you're gonna notice that over the next hours, days, weeks. In fact, believe it or not, your best time from today is 12 weeks from now.
Oh, really?
Because it's stimulating you in the process. And I told him yesterday, he's called this thing the fountain of youth, because it makes you feel like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, it just rapidly speeds everything up.
It's
Yeah,
shocked.
that,
So-
it's amazing, because I wouldn't do that.
Mhm.
I would not have done that.
That's beautiful, I love
Yeah.
it.
Because when I come in with this one, see,
Yeah.
that's painful.
Mhm.
Big difference.
Yeah, it is a big difference.
Yes.
It is a big difference.
So, your foot problem, you said you've had for 8 years?
Yeah,
At
it
least,
is.
okay. So does it make sense that over the 8 years that your body's been going through and you've changed your gait multiple times and all this, that it just compensates around and goes layer upon layer? Does
Oh,
that
I
make
think
sense?
so, and I think probably that, because your gait is off, that can be causing some of my back problems.
True, you're exactly right. So what we did today was get through a little more than layer one, probably, yeah. So ideally, to get the best out of it, we wanna get through all those layers, so that means come back 2 more times in 2 weeks, and then you let it heal through that 12-week process. That make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay.
She did her
I'll
third
let
one
you
today,
get
that
your
like
shoes
finished
off.
up today, yep.
And you're gonna notice that over the next
Did she do
hours,
like
days,
me?
weeks,
She's
in
doing
fact,
one week after week after week, or is she's,
So how does this work? I'll go through this kind of quickly. This is the technical stuff. It's in your slides. Okay. What it does is it causes these cells, because it's what's called an electrohydraulic shock wave. It's not electrical. It's like a mini sonic boom directed at your cells. And what it does is it shocks your cells and triggers them to behave as if your body just had a major trauma. So what they do, instead of blowing up, like you can go get cheaper treatments that will blow the cell up, but you obviously don't want to do that, right? What it does is it causes the cell to act like it was in this major trauma, and it voluntarily releases, without rupturing, the anti-inflammatory cytokines. We know those are good, right? The VEGFs, they call them, the vascular, couldn't think of the word, epithelial growth factor. How do you not think of vascular? Growth factor and stem cells. It causes that 300% increase in blood flow. It decreases pain, which you guys can obviously see that, right? So, well, this was, I don't think this is in your notes, so if it's not and you want it, let me know. Because when you get a group of people, you get some people that just want to see, oh, that lady went from here to here, I'm in. And then you have other people that want to read everything in the world. So I've got this here if you would like it, because it goes through all of the different biological response. There are contraindications. Here are the big ones. Pregnancy. If you're pregnant, you can't do it, Jen. Cancer at or near the site of treatment. Why do you think that is?
Because it'll increase the cancer.
Exactly right. Treatment over electrical components like pacemakers and stimulators and stuff like that. We can't do it over that. We can do it in a vicinity, but not right over. Okay? So, is sand wave right for you? In this case, and for what we're doing it now, you ask yourself, do you have chronic pain?
Yes.
Yes. You're like, that's why I've been here for the last hour and 37 minutes. Do you have any of these contraindications? No? Okay. Have you stopped doing anything that you like to do because of your pain?
mm-hmm.
No? Does the chronic pain affect your work? Well, a lot of people retired, some people still work. You wake up at night in pain, even if it's just a rollover.
Mm-hmm.
So you wake up at night.
That's why I get up early.
You can't stay in bed any longer.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Do you wake up with pain in the morning? That's the next one. Are you stiff and sore after getting up in the morning or after sitting for long periods? Have to pause and slowly begin to move so you can loosen up the walk?
Mm-hmm.
Here's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
You've not had enough. That's the big question here, guys. That's the big question you have to ask yourselves with whatever it is, right? You have to ask yourself, have I had enough? Am I tired of it? Do I really, truly want to do something about it? Are you ready to take a chance? Because with something new, you don't know about it, you haven't seen it a lot, might be a little scary, can be pretty doubtful with it, right?
So if you got like a bad shoulder, a bad elbow, and a bad knee, that's 3 different treatments.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The whole 10 or 12 or 20 years or more younger, it's legit. It's. Has anybody else looked at this and thought that's just too good to be true?
Well, it worked on me.
It depends. Now I know Yvonne, you've got some other issues that.
Well, that's okay, but
You
that's
can't
the
do
first
it.
thing
Yep.
that comes into your mind.
Yep. Oh yes, I got you. Yes. Now here's the thing I want to make clear. I mean, it's almost like a miracle treatment. It really is. It goes beyond what we would even expect, right? So I want to help people with this because this gives them a significant boost to feeling better and getting their life back. But I want to make something very, very, very clear. If inflammation is the root cause of your joint problems, it's also the root cause of your heart problems, whether you know you have them or not. It's also the root cause of your risk for cancer, for diabetes type 2. Do you follow me?
Yeah.
So, what I don't want to do is get you here, fix your pain, and you go out, kill yourself slowly by doing the same thing that got you where you are. Do you follow me? Now, like I told you before, I don't expect you to totally change everything, be 100% good, no mistakes ever, all at once. Just do one little thing at a time. So, that's the question. Are you committed? And this is, or is it, would you really just try one dietary thing or lifestyle thing? You know, you're ready, who's ready to get their life back? Anybody ready to, I mean, you're already thinking about, oh, if I didn't have this pain, I would go back to doing this. So, have you guys already thought of that? Everybody's thought of at least one thing that you would do? Larry's would sleep till dawn, right? Yep. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you how much these treatments are right now. And I'm going to tell you it's by far the most expensive thing that I do in my office. I am also going to tell you that it is the fastest acting thing that I've ever seen in my office. I will also tell you that if you compare these prices at medical office prices and not chiropractic office prices, they're cheap. Especially for what you get out of them, okay? Now, you said 3 different areas. Yep, it is. It's 3 different treatments. The treatments are $450 a piece. Most people need 3, okay? My brother and my parents, I didn't charge them for those. My brother is a tightwad, huge tightwad, always has been, okay? And I mean, we tease him about it. And he was here after his second treatment, and he told me that he was telling his wife, Shyla, on the way down, because I was asking questions. You know, I want to know, what are your thoughts? Blah, blah, blah. I knew he was better, but what are your thoughts? What is it that nobody's telling me, you know, whatever. He says, you know what? I said, I told Shiloh on the way down here that if I had to pay asking price for this, I would. And believe it or not, for my brother, that's a big, big statement, okay? So, right now, this also, notice this is a Tuesday, and most of you know that I don't work on Tuesdays, right? Well, I have been lately, because that's the only time I've got. So, I have 5 specials for the first 5 people who want to do this, okay? Because I can only fit in 5. And right now, everybody's handpicked. So, once I put this out on Facebook and people start sharing it, I'm really concerned about having the time to take care of everybody. So, I don't know how long this will be able to last. So, here's what I want to do for 5 people. And this will be a week from today. We'll do a comprehensive evaluation, which is going to include, and if I've seen you before, we're gonna act like I've never seen you before, so we don't miss anything, okay? We'll do vitals, because we've gotta do vitals, check things out. We're gonna do orthopedic testing that is specific for that area. We're not gonna test every single joint in the body. We're gonna test what you're working on now. And I will tell you this, Jay, because you did have a good question. What if I got this? What if I got that? What if I got this? Find the one thing that would change your life the most if you didn't have, and do it first. Talk to me about it, because sometimes people have something that I'm like, I think that's too far gone. You
Well,
know.
it's true too, that if you
Yep.
help one area, it's gonna benefit something else.
It does, yep,
Yeah.
that's true, that's true. So, look at it as a long-term plan. You could do it over months, years, whatever. Because that's the cool thing about it, unless you do something stupid, re-injure it, or, you know, you have to do something bad. You get those 3 treatments in most cases. Now I'll tell you, some of the low back pelvic area, it's 5 or 6. I've learned that in the last couple of weeks. We can't get it all done in that amount of time. Too much involvement. But from everything I've read, everything when I've talked to, unless you have a new injury or something that's causing that, you've done something else to it, you're good. The only exception to that is diabetic neuropathy. Does anybody know why? It's a constant disease process. Do you follow me? It is always there 100% of the time. So the body is going downhill. So if we can get them to keep their feet, their legs, then we win. But those people are spending $12,000, $15,000 a year to keep their feet and legs. Okay? I'm not going out actively going after those people because that's not where my passion is. Would I help them if they wanted me to? Yes. But I told you why I'm here with this. Sheila's got a picture of the feet. Pretty amazing.
Mhm.
You know? Neurological testing, muscle performance testing, joint flexibility, excuse me, and functional analysis. If we need to get new x-rays, we'll take new x-rays. We'll sit down and talk about what you need. I will tell you, some people have already been doing so many things right. And I have these people coming in now. You know what they need? They need maybe 3 treatments. My mom, her hip cleared up in 1 treatment. I forgot to tell you that a while ago. She came in today and has had 0 pain in a week. And she was
Wow.
just as bad as yours was, Rose. Which surprised me. I didn't think she would do that well.
Yeah.
And so she scheduled 2 more, came in and did 1 today. And I mean, it was very obvious in the treatment. I said, I don't think you need to do the 3rd one. Now, she's going to be back just because my dad needs more, but she didn't need one.
And she's got to see her baby boy.
Yeah. We will do 1 trial SANUA treatment. So, like Rose was talking about here, and I've known Rose for a long, long time. And when I talked to her about this, I gave her the option of doing this trial treatment. But can I tell them why? we
Yes,
didn't
you
do
may
that?
tell them why.
She's got a cruise that she doesn't have the time to get all of those treatments in to be able to do what she wants to do on the cruise. So I said, you can try the 99, see if you like it, because it's. You know, I've told you it hurts, so that puts a little bit of anxiety there, right? You've seen some stuff that's just unbelievable. And so you're like, man, do I really want to do that? Do I not want to do that? So that's why you can do it for this discounted one
May
here.
I interject just a little bit
Mhm.
there? The thing about the $99 one, I didn't do the 99. I did the 450
Mhm.
for 3 times, right? So, well, my 3rd one's coming up next week. But I'm happy that I did the full treatment the first time and paid the 450 because I'm afraid I wouldn't have come back if I'd only paid $99
Because of how much.
because it hurt.
Yeah.
I mean,
And yours is one of the more severe ones.
Yeah. So, but you know, I mean, when I get up out of bed in the morning, I can walk to the bathroom without stopping and going, "Oh my God, let this foot get one in front of the other." So now I know that full treatment was worth it.
Yeah. Now, when we talk about the pain, it's not a constant pain in that area because we move around. Now
That is correct.
You have a tremendous amount of different areas.
Yes.
Very complex, which is one of the reasons why the low back and sacroiliac joint people, theirs is more, you know, it's more treatments because.
But you have a great warming sensation after it's all
Yes,
done.
but once it's off of that hot spot, if you will, because I call this my inflammation hunter, because I can come around here on your thigh right now, Jed, and I can do that treatment there, and you'd go, I don't feel anything.
Mhm.
But once I get where there's inflammation, that's where the pain is. So that means, oh, we found a spot and we can treat it. And I tell you, as somebody who's been doing this for as long as I've been doing it, you go talk to medical doctors, what have you, when somebody comes into the problem, we do what's called differential diagnosis, which means it could be this, or this. And we start doing tests to narrow it down to the most likely. And even the most likely one is complex and has different components that are all going together. I see that all the time. This here pinpoints that. It really does. And it does it, like you heard me telling the gal in there, it's in layers. You know, because if you've had it for years, your body compensates and your gait changes and all these things happen. So we go through and get one layer taken care of, and then we got to take care of another layer until we get it all done, and then 12 weeks later, you're good. So, Rose and I spoiled the surprise for you.
I am so sorry.
No, I said it too. So I have 5 certificates that are good for next Tuesday and next Tuesday only, okay? Where you can get all of that, including that trial test, which will be enough for you to experience it and know whether it's too much or what have you without spending, you know, a whole bunch of dollars, right? I mean, that is significantly less than it costs for me to actually deliver just the treatment for this Annuwave, not all the testing and all that. Because this is a high, well, first of all, it's expensive, but it's a high maintenance machine, and those applicators have to be refurbished every 75 treatments. And that's thousands of dollars each
So I
time.
have a question.
Yep.
She said something about, I forget how she worded it, but is this $99 treatment the
One treatment.
same,
Oh.
same volume or the same thing you
No.
get in the others? Or is this a lower, you know,
It is a
a
lower
lower-
one. Mhm.
lower Yule or Joule or
Well,
whatever?
it's okay. So it's all in pulses. Okay, so a typical treatment is 1,000 pulses. Now, based off of each person, what we find in the testing, and what's going on, will determine how much energy is behind each pulse, because that energy is going to determine like how deep it goes and so forth. So even with this right here, a person is going to get healing benefit. You're going to get it, and you're going to get it for 12 weeks. But if you look at the problem as an onion with the different layers, and let's say that we had a plan to get to the center of the onion in 3 cuts. Layer 1, or section 1, section 2, section 3. That's what the regular treatments would be for most people. Some are different. Some are better immediately. Some take a couple more, but the vast majority is 3 treatments, okay? This right here is just getting a taste of the first layer, you know, peel off layer of the onion or something like that.
But you
So
still get benefit
yes,
from
you
that
still get
first.
benefit from it, yeah.
Comprehensive evaluation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we're gonna stop and take a look at everything and see exactly where we're at.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If you have shoulder problems, is it one shoulder or the other, or is it both?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll spill the beans for you here, because
Okay.
when Linda came in and did her foot, okay, because you gotta realize, I have to look at everything from an efficacy, a clinical, and a financial point of view. Now, I have to tell myself all the time that your bank account and your finances is none of my business. You guys have to decide what's worth it, that you spend your money on. That's just what it is. I have to make sure that what I give is worth it, and then some. You follow me? So, and I don't know that I should say this or not, but my daughter was getting on to me when I was going through this process, and she's 16. She's just a really good devil's advocate. And I was telling her, I was showing her, because I've got spreadsheets of this, what it all costs and everything, what the maintenance is, everything. And then I show if I charge this and if I get this many, and so I know where my break even is and all that. And I told her what I was charging, and she says, oh, that's not enough. And so she's 16, you know, and she's partially playing devil's advocate. Well, then I get Linda in there with her feet. I'm thinking, well, that's 450, that's 900. So I'm going through and doing all the math, and I'm thinking of people like Jed that's got these different spots with me. So, and by the way, the math on this, I'm pretty decent at math. This is about kicked my butt. Because I had to figure out, okay, what percentage of patients can I offer what kind of a discount for doing 2 areas, and they have to be very close, like 2 feet, 2 shoulders, at the same time. So like if somebody's got a pelvis low back issue, that's to do it right, it's 2 treatments in one time for 3 sessions. So it's 6 in 3, if that makes sense. So what I figured out is at any given time, and this varies, and at any given time, I can do 20% of that patient load to where they can pay for one full price, same day, same treatment, the other one's half price. That makes sense?
Yeah.
But that's my breaking point, that's as far as I can go. My daughter didn't like that one at all. And she's very loving and kind and wants everybody to get better, but she says you can't do it if, you know, if it's not proper, which she's right. So anyway, here's the deal. I think there's 5 cards here, and these are first come, first served. Please don't, like, if you're like super excited, don't run over each other. I'm just gonna set these here, because I got too much stuff for you. These cards will have the date. They're all next Tuesday, because guys, that's just all I have the time to do. And I've got them all out of order. If you want to do these, there are 3 different kind of rough times. So, now, here there's a catch to this, okay? And I think you can understand why. If you want to do it, it's fantastic. I'd love to do it for you. But you got to pay for it tonight.
That's the $99.
Yeah, you got to pay for the $99 today, and you got to do it next week. Now, if for some reason something comes up, or you get sick, or you have an emergency, or something like that, we'll find a time to get it done the next week. But it's not something that you get to take a spot and then not show up. Because we just can't do that. So if anybody wants to do that, I will let you do that. I've got some other things for you that I want you to each have. I think I've given you one of these before. And then I'm going to show you something in here really quickly.
No.
I was gonna ask you, you talk about that it gets better over the 12
Yes.
weeks. Do you have to do it again in 12 weeks?
No, the vast majority not. That's
That's
see,
what's
because
so cool about this
it's
stuff.
yes. It's a true
It's a three
healing
and
process.
done.
It is using your body's own natural healing to it's using your body's own natural processes to stimulate healing of that area. So if you think about when we're doing this treatment, it's going to hit and affect the areas that where the damage is, but it's also going to work on the healthy cells around it. And cause them to release that too. What I'm giving you guys here, because people always ask me, so I'm just making it to where you don't have to ask. This is a start. This is a very simple start. People ask me, well, what do you take for vitamins? This is my daily. This is from a company called Anabolic Laboratories. And Anabolic Laboratories is an FDA regulated, did you get one?
I got you.
Is an FDA regulated.
I take all these.
Do you get all these? Is it that brand?
Well, no, it's not that brand.
The brands make a difference. So this is an FDA regulated lab. Everything that comes out of here is tested by 3 independent sources, 3 independent companies, just like any other drug would be.
How do you know what they are?
Oh, it's all in there. It's called the NutriPack. It comes in a
Says
box
four
like
essentials
this.
like this.
Yep. All right. Who wants goofy prizes real quick before you see Melissa? I'm telling you. It says goofy. Who's our hat wearer that thinks they want to look like a painter? Awesome. Coffee drinkers? Ow, that's perfect for Rylan. You want me to open it for you? You want to open it yourself?
I'll open it.
Okay. Any other coffee drinkers?
Is it a mug?
Yeah.
How many ounces?
Oh, it's like a 6 ounce. It's not a big one.
Yeah.
It's the same one that our pens are in up there.
Yeah, no, it's not big enough.
Pot a day or
Oh, it's plenty big
Well,
for
that's what
mine.
people
I'll just
fun
make a
of me.
second cup or two.
You say you'd like a mug? Sure. Awesome. There you go. You may want a T-shirt. T-shirt?
T-shirts.
What size?
Representing you?
Yes. This is what you're gonna laugh about. You ready? This is how long this has been back here in the box.
Oh.
Come here, Gideon.
Wow.
I need the t-shirt just to freak your son out.
Oh yeah. We could could do that.
Just to wear it.
We could do that. What size you want? That'd be funny.
Now what he would
I
get.
still can't believe he's this big. Oh my gosh.
What size do you want, Frank?
Do a double thing. Should we have a large?
Okay. Gideon, go back there and get a large. Larry, you want an XL just for
No, I'm
running around
good.
the shop?
I'm good.
Are they marked?
Yeah. Okay, very good. Guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for your patience. I gotta find a way to trim that down.
Don't invite me.
Read it. Don't invite you. No, it's fun though. I appreciate you guys all coming. I appreciate your time. Did anybody not get a card that wants one, that wants to be on any kind of cancellation list or anything down the road? If it occurs. Your head's still spinning.
Mine?
You got yours, you're good. Yeah. So, those of you that have the cards, we'll come up here, we'll see Melissa real quick. And she will get you all scheduled. Come back. All right. Hey, thanks for coming, Jen. Oh, yeah, he was coming too.
Well.
I'm so happy I've had that done, I'll tell you. And I'll be glad when 12 weeks is up.
Theoretically, if you do it, you should get to feeling better, so you're gonna move around more, you're gonna
Exactly.
exercise more.
Mhm.
And then if you do the couple things to eat a little bit better, you'll get healthier,
Yeah,
and it'll just,
and then, all it's a big
Just
circle.
long-term effects that it has, you know.
It's a big healthy circle.
Cause you're right, you.
The little bitty one.
the
Come
time,
on, Ron. Gideon, how old are you now? 12. That's what I thought, you were 12.
That was too much for my ears. Look at Dr. Carter.
has he got hair in it?
No, he doesn't have hair.
Yeah, he had a little bit.
Oh,
He had a little bit. Yeah.
it's in the white, I can't tell. All right.
I saw you when you were a baby. How long I've been coming before you came.
ladies. Thank you very much. Sorry.
You were a little bitty when I first saw you too, when your brother was in scouts.
We'll help with that. We wanna talk about.
Gabe,
Yeah, we wanna talk about.
he's, what is he?
Yeah.
He's about 12 years.
No, that
No,
was-
he's
You
11
can't,
11
it
years
just takes
older than you,
longer,
right?
Because it's gonna cause
No.
growth with the new blood vessels.
10, 9? He's 9 years older than you? Is he 22 now? 21?
He's almost
Okay.
Gideon? You wanna help me with chairs?
It's not done recording.
What?
It's not done
Oh,
recording.
we'll hit done recording.